I'm here with Sandra Evertson, who has brought some unbelievably beautiful bottles.
Thank you.
These are so fantastic. So I know you're gonna show us how easy it is to sort of make these from start to finish. So where do we get started?
Well, we start with some sculpting clay and some resin craft blanks and kind of go from there.
Okay, cool. So what do we do? I guess we're mixing things together, right?
So,
to make our...
so we have a 2-part clay, and we want to get the equal amounts of the clay. So you just get equal amounts, and you mix it up.
And they're 2 different colors mainly so that you can tell, when you've mixed it.
Right, and when the mixing, when you start mixing them up, it'll blend together, and you want to get it all blended together and into one color, and that's when you know when it's ready to go. And then once you have it all mixed up and it's ready to go, it is one solid color like this.
Now, how much working time do you have? Could this be a couple hours?
Yeah, this gives you a few hours to work with. There are some that have shorter working times. It just depends on your application, what you're going to use it for, and otherwise it's just a couple hours. And when you're done mixing it, you want to sit it down and let it actually rest for at least 5 minutes, because this kind of clay is like really, it's like intuitive. It's kind of like alive, sort of. Not really alive, but like a little bit. And it kind of knows what you want it to do once you start working with it.
I always think about that like when you let a cake rest or cookies rest when you take them out.
Exactly, yeah. So that's kind of what you let it rest for a little bit, and then it's just the right, like it gets the right tackiness to it. And then you can start putting it on your bottle. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take enough that will fit onto here.
And I notice you're wearing gloves while you do that.
Yeah, when you mix it, you should wear the gloves, because it does have like a curing action, and so you want to wear the gloves when you're mixing it. But when you start working with it, you don't have to. I kind of generally really don't when I start working with it, because after it's sat and rested, that whole curing thing is kind of finished.
Completed.
Yeah.
So I see you've just made a ring around the neck of the bottle, like a donut.
Mm-hmm, like a little donut, yep. And you just want to work it around until you get it into, I like kind of organic shapes and kind of bohemian and that whole kind of vibe. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just, a shape that you
Well, I always think that handmade things are meant to be imperfect. Yeah. That's the beauty of them.
Yeah, and one of the things I really love about handmade things, I collect stuff like that, is like when I'll find something antique and it'll have like a thumbprint in it, and it's amazing because it's like, that was the guy who ever made that like 100 years ago. I love that part about collecting things, because I'm a huge collector of all kinds of things. So you want to wrap that up, and you've got it wrapped like this. Then you'll take your piece and you just kind of embed it in.
Cool, and that's going to hold that. You don't need glue or adhesive or anything else.
This is adhesive. This does everything, and it's no fumes and no baking. It's the best part about it. So you just want to set it in.
And I see you just keep pinching and pinching. You pinch the seam to make it disappear. You're working and pinching it. And when you're done doing all that pinching, I believe you have something that looks a little bit like that one right there, right?
And I also want to show you, so you can see on this one, there's the little imprints on it. And then on this one as well, it's got imprints. And you can use just found objects to make, this one I actually made those imprints with this little piece. And then the imprint on this one, I just used this. And you might want to dip it in a little bit of water, and you just kind of go through, and it'll make it.
And this is a strand of beads. It looks
just
like, which is really
like
cool.
all kinds of things. So yeah.
So then I know that you're painting some of your resin blanks black, and that I assume is if you want to have one that is all black as opposed to one that is.
No, the great thing about this, the great thing about putting it like this, is that we'll paint it black. And we're going to show how to make this really fabulous gold finish. So you want to put a layer of black on it. And these resin blanks are matte, so they just take paint and glue and glitter or whatever you want to put on them really, really, really nicely.
So then this is a gold wax, and how are we going to go ahead and apply that?
Right, so this will be then, you just use a little cotton cloth, and you grab some out of here, and you just start rubbing it on.
Could not be easier.
And no, it's so totally so. I'm pretty low tech artist, so it's the simpler the better. And you can see it just pops up all the detail.
And that was a very small amount that you used. And now I know you've got a tip where you're going to take it even further and distress it.
Yeah, you can just, absolutely, just distress it. And you can see on the one over here where you add in a little bit of color here to give it kind of an aged look.
So how do we do the distressing?
So the distressing is super simple. you just go in with a little bit of like kind of a burnt umber color. And I use all different kind of craft paints, different brands. It just depends on the colors. And I'll blend a lot of my own colors too to just get just the right
So that
color.
It's custom, which I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah. So you just use a little bit of this, and you can use a little bit of the black, and you make your own, and just kind of go along the edges. And you don't have to be perfect. That's the great thing about this. And it just, actually the less perfect that it is, the better.
I think so too, because just stressing is never perfect.
Right. That's the whole beauty of it, all the flaws.
And so once it's all distressed and all that kind of stuff, what are we doing next?
So after that, we will then embellish the piece. And you can embellish the glass piece with, I make up this little mixture to kind of make a little milky mixture, and you can spray it on here.
So what's it a mix of?
It's a mix of just a white acrylic paint, some chalk, like kids' chalk, and you just scrape it off, put it in the shaker bottle and mix it up, and it gives you a little powdery
And there's water in there too, I assume.
A little bit of water, and it just, you know, adds a little, and it makes, you can see on the bottles over there, it makes these pretty little flecks.
Very cool. And then I know we're going to embellish it out even more.
Even further, yes. And you use, I just use like found fabrics that you get from like thrift stores and stuff like that, and tear them into strips. And you can
a lot of
just
people don't know that you can just tear fabric down and it tears along the grain.
Perfectly, and it makes just the perfect strips, and just like kind of real gypsy and boho, and you just tie them on, and you can use beads to embellish them, as you can see over there. I put them on with beads and add feathers, and you can make little necklaces for them. I actually made a little necklace on one, and you can wrap them with the beads.
This is a great opportunity, if we look at the finished ones, to make something really personal. Take jewelry from your grandmother, old clothes, and really almost make a memory object or something
absolutely,
like that.
That's really fabulous,
This was so fabulous, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.